Dear listeners, welcome back to the Flavors and Knowledge podcast. We are sharing a new feature that concentrates on health, wellness, and nutrition. I am your host, Noah Mitchell from Chef Walter's Cooking School in Rhode Island, and today we'll continue with Chapter 2, named The Color Game: Eating the Rainbow. Friends, the most important lesson I ever learned came from a market in Florence, not a classroom. In the autumn of 1987, I took a sabbatical from my restaurant and traveled to Tuscany. I had been cooking professionally for nearly 2 decades by then, and I thought I knew quite a lot about food. Florence humbled me within 48 hours. Not the restaurants, the market. The Central Market, a vast iron and glass cathedral of food in the heart of the city, has been selling produce since 1874. I walked through it on a Tuesday morning and felt, for the first time in years, like an absolute beginner. What stopped me was color. The market was an explosion of it. Deep purple eggplants stacked in pyramids, brilliant orange persimmons catching the light, bundles of dark black cabbage tied with string, tomatoes in 7 shades of red, yellow, and almost brown pale fennel bulbs with their feathery green tops still attached, fat red radicchio heads glowing like lanterns. An old vendor, noticing my stunned expression, pointed at his display and said, "Take a look at all the rainbow." I nodded. I understood in that moment more about nutrition than any textbook had ever taught me. The science behind what I felt instinctively that morning in Florence is now well established. Phytonutrients produce the colors of fruits and vegetables, naturally occurring chemical compounds that plants develop as part of their own biological defense systems. When we eat those plants, we absorb those compounds, and they go to work inside our bodies in remarkably specific ways. Red foods, tomatoes, strawberries, red peppers, watermelon, owe their color largely to lycopene and anthocyanins, compounds associated with heart health and cellular protection. Orange and yellow foods, carrots, sweet potatoes, mangoes, squash, are rich in beta-carotene, which the body converts to vitamin A, essential for vision, immune function, and skin health. Green foods, spinach, broccoli, kale, peas, Brussels sprouts, contain chlorophyll along with folate, vitamin K, and powerful antioxidants that support everything from bone strength to detoxification. Blue and purple foods, blueberries, purple cabbage, beets, eggplant, are among the richest sources of anthocyanins, which researchers have linked to improved brain function and memory. I spent the better part of 30 years after that Florentine morning redesigning the way I cooked, not just in my restaurant, but in my cooking school and in the books I began writing. Color became my first organizing principle. Before I thought about protein, before I thought about carbohydrates or fats, I looked at the plate. Was it colorful? A plate that looks like a painting, vivid, varied, generous, is almost always nutritionally sound. A plate that is beige and monochrome, pasta with white sauce, bread with butter, pale chicken with no vegetables, is almost always nutritionally thin, no matter how good it tastes. The children I have taught in my cooking classes are, without exception, more receptive to this idea than adults. Adults bring their habits, their defenses, their childhood aversions. Children bring curiosity. When I frame vegetables as a color challenge, can you get 5 different colors on your plate tonight? The response is immediate and enthusiastic. It becomes a game. And games, as any good teacher knows, are among the most powerful vehicles for learning. One of the things I love most about eating by color is that it naturally orients you toward seasons. Colors follow the calendar. Spring is green, peas, asparagus, spinach, artichokes. Summer explodes in red and orange, tomatoes at their peak, stone fruits, peppers, corn. Autumn brings deep purples and rich oranges, squash, pumpkins, grapes, figs. Winter retreats to dark greens, deep reds, and the warm orange of stored root vegetables. Eating with the seasons is not a nostalgic affectation. It is the oldest and most intelligent nutritional strategy in human history. Seasonal produce is harvested at its nutritional peak. It hasn't traveled thousands of miles in a refrigerated truck. It tastes better, and it costs less. I have served millions of meals in my career. from the most elegant dining rooms to the simplest community kitchens. And the plates that made people genuinely happy, that made them look up from their food and say something without planning to, were always the beautiful ones. Not beautiful in an overly fussy architectural way. Beautiful the way a garden is beautiful, abundant, colorful, alive. Food speaks to us on a level that bypasses reason. When something is vivid and varied on the plate, something in us knows without being told that it is good. So here is my advice from 50 years at the stove. Before you think about calories, before you think about nutrients, before you think about any of the complicated language that surrounds food today, think about color. Eat the rainbow. Not because a nutritionist told you to, but because your eyes, your instincts, and 50 centuries of human wisdom all agree that it is the right thing to do. I'll meet you again in the next episode. Until then, keep your eyes on the fire and stay curious. The content is written by Chef Walter and produced by Simval Media, USA. Thanks for listening and for the privilege of your time.